So I'm sitting in the bar at the casino at the Bellagio Hotel, and I'm wearing my brand new black and white off-the-shoulder fit and flare dress, and I love this dress. The main reason I love this dress is because it's at least 3 sizes smaller than the dress I would have worn a year ago. To put it bluntly, I had been fat. And when I was fat, I had it drilled into my head that no man would love me, want a relationship with me, or even want to date me. But I had worked really, really hard the previous year, and I had lost most of the weight. And I was feeling pretty good, good enough that I figured it was time to go back into the dating scene. And how was I gonna launch myself back into the dating world? I was gonna fly to Vegas and have a one-night stand. So that is how I find myself at the bar, at the casino, at the Bellagio Hotel. So I have to tell you that I had spent 2 nights before this night trying to get the attention of any man, to no avail. To say it had been disastrous was probably an understatement. So it was my 3rd night there, and I'm worried because I cannot go home without completing my mission. So I think to myself, all right, you've got to do something different. So I decide I'm not gonna wait for a man to pick me up. I am gonna pick up a guy. Now, I do not know how to flirt with a guy. I do not know how to pick up a guy. I have no game. I went to a women's college. I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I think to myself, okay, I am going to emulate Samantha Jones from Sex and the City. And I am gonna do this to pick up the guy. And I decided change of venue is probably in order also. I leave the Bellagio Hotel and I go to this other hotel that has no casino. And I go down the escalator, and to my right there is a spa, and I smell the eucalyptus from the spa. And to my left, there is this nice bar. And the bar is well lit. There's people there, but it's not too crowded. And I think this is a better scene for me. So I walk in the bar, and sitting at the bar, there's this guy, and he is wearing linen pants, a crisp white shirt, and suspenders. He looked like an old-time Southern writer. He reminded me of Tom Wolfe. And I thought, this is my guy. And he had a seat next to him. So I walk up to him, and I asked if I could sit next to him, and he says, absolutely. So I sit down, and we started talking, and he seemed thrilled to be talking to someone. So we're talking, and I learn that he is divorced with no kids, is a concert musician, and has a master's degree. And I'm thinking, score, because apparently I have really high standards for the guys I'm gonna fuck. So we talk some more, and because I have no game, and apparently he doesn't either, we end up talking about religion. And he tells me he is a devout Catholic, has only slept with one other person, and that is his ex-wife. And he is trying to get that marriage annulled because can't divorce. So I think, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? I think I'm gonna sleep with a guy that has only slept with one other person in marriage. There's no way this is gonna happen. So I think, okay, what would Samantha Jones do? WWSJD. And I turn to him and I say, wanna come up to my room? And he looks at me, silent for a while, and finally he says, "Why?" And I say, "For the exact reason you think?" And he's silent, and he says, he's thinking. Finally he says, "Well, okay, but I only want to go to second base." And I'm thinking, a 45-year-old man just referred to feeling me up at second base. But I have no choice at this point. He is my only option. I am in this to win this. So I agree. And I say, okay. And I take him up to my room. And we talk a little bit. And then we proceed to get on the bed and kiss. And we're kissing and moving forward a little. And we get to second base. And I do not want to stop. And I could feel that he didn't want to stop either. So, again, WWSJD. And I whisper something very suggestive in his ear. And the next thing I know, his clothes are coming off. So we proceed, and we're progressing. And I go to perform, let's say it rhymes with ratio on him. And the next thing I know, I hear, "Whoa!" And he's like levitating off the bed. So I think, what is going on? I had no imagination, like, did I bite him? I had no idea what happened. So it turns out no one, his wife, had ever done this to him before. And I thought, this poor guy. I mean, it's pretty standard in most people's repertoires, I think, but nothing. So I figure now I have some confidence. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give this guy the best night of his life. And that is what I proceed to do. And we had a really, really good night. And the next morning, we say a temporary goodbye because we're gonna have lunch the next day. Say a formal goodbye. So the next day I meet him for lunch, and I ask him how his previous day was, and he starts explaining to me, "Oh my God, I went to church as I had planned, but I couldn't take communion because I had committed mortal sin the night before. And you can't take communion unless you go to confession first. And I didn't have time to go to confession." He must have seen the look on my face because he's like, no, Rachel, it was totally worth it. And it was then I realized not only was I probably dateable, but I'm sort of a badass.